Hello students, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will go through the NCERT question answers from the chapter New Beginnings, Cities and States. I will explain them in a very simple way so that you can easily write them in your exams. Now, let us first start with the big questions given at the beginning of the chapter. First question, what is meant by second urbanization of India? Remember that the first urbanization took place during the Indus Valley civilization. After its decline, large cities disappeared for many centuries. Later, as farming improved in the fertile Ganga plains, people produced more food than they needed. This encouraged trade, crafts, and the growth of settlements. Many villages gradually developed into towns and cities. Because this was the second time that urban life flourished on a large scale in India, historians call it the second urbanization. So, you can write the answer as the second urbanization of India refers to the growth of many new towns and cities during the first millennium BCE after the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. It began in the Ganga plains, parts of the Indus basin and neighboring regions and gradually spread to other parts of the subcontinent as agriculture, trade and crafts expanded. Second question. Why were the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas an important development in India's early history? So, here you need to think about why the period of the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas was a turning point in India's history. Before this period, people lived in smaller communities, but with the rise of the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas, larger and more organized states emerged. So, you can write the answer as the Janapadas and Mahajanapadas were an important development in India's early history because they marked the rise of organized states and kingdoms. During this period, powerful Rajas ruled larger territories, fortified cities were built for protection and trade routes connected different regions of the subcontinent. The use of iron and coins became more widespread, trade and crafts flourished, and many towns and cities developed during the second urbanization. These developments transformed political, economic and urban life in ancient India. Third question, what kind of system of governance did they evolve? The Sabha and Samiti were not new institutions that appeared during the time of the Janapadas. They are already mentioned much earlier in the Vedas, India's most ancient text. So, you can write the answer as the Janapadas evolved a system of governance in which each state had an assembly or council called the Sabha or Samiti. The Raja was not expected to rule independently or arbitrarily and had to consult these assemblies. The Mahajanapadas expanded these principles. Many were monarchies where the Raja was the ultimate authority, supported by ministers and an assembly of elders. His position was usually hereditary. The king collected taxes, maintained law and order, built fortifications around the capital and maintained an army. However, some Mahajanapadas such as Vajji and Malla had a different system of governance. In these states, the Sabha or Samiti had greater power and took important decisions through discussion and when necessary through voting. Even the Raja could be selected by the assembly. Mahajanapadas with such a system were called Ganas or Sanghas and had democratic features. Now, let's look at the questions and activities given at the end of the chapter. First question, consider the quotation at the start of the chapter and discuss in several groups. Compare your observations and conclusions on what Kautilya recommends for a kingdom. Is it very different today? So now you need to think about what every good country needs. Safety and protection, enough food and water, natural resources, good roads and transport, and a strong economy. Kautilya believed that a kingdom should have all these things. If a kingdom was safe, had plenty of resources and had a strong economy, its people could live comfortably and the kingdom would prosper. When we look at India today, the government still works towards the same goals. That is why Kautilya's ideas remain relevant even after more than 2000 years. So, you can write the answer as Kautilya recommends that a kingdom should be safe, prosperous and self-sufficient. It should have strong fortifications for protection, fertile land for farming, forest, mines, and enough resources to support people even during difficult times. It should also have good water supply, roads, waterways, and a strong economy with many goods. These ideas are not very different today. Modern governments also focus on security, agriculture, water supply, transport, and economic development. The main difference is that today India is a democracy while ancient kingdoms were ruled by kings. Second question. According to the text, how were rulers chosen in early Vedic society? So what we learned in the text? In early Vedic society, the Raja or the king was generally chosen by the people through assemblies rather than automatically inheriting the position. Sabha or Samiti played an important role in the society. These assemblies advised the ruler and helped in important decisions. A good ruler was expected to listen to their advice rather than rule entirely on his own. Remember, the members of these assemblies were mostly elders of the clan who were respected for their experience and wisdom. And some ancient texts even suggest that if a ruler was incompetent, that is unable to govern properly, the assembly could remove him from power. Later, the system changed. The position of the king gradually became hereditary, meaning that the son of the king would usually succeed him. So, you can write the answer as, according to the text, rulers in early Vedic society were generally chosen through assemblies such as the Sabha or Samiti. These assemblies advised the ruler and played an important role in governance. Some texts suggest that they could even remove an incompetent ruler. Third question. Imagine you are a historian studying ancient India. What types of sources, archaeological, literary, etc., would you use to learn more about the Mahajanapadas? Explain how each source might contribute to your understanding. Historians cannot travel back in time, so they depend on clues left behind by people of the past. If we want to learn about the Mahajanapadas, we can study ruins of cities, which tells us about urban life and fortifications. And we can study coins, which can tell us about trade and economy, and tools and pottery, which tell us about technology and daily life. And we can study ancient text, which can tell us about rulers, assemblies, wars, and administration. Each source gives only part of the story. When historians put all the evidence together, they get a better understanding of life in the Mahajanapadas. So you can write the answer as a historian studying the Mahajanapadas, I would use archaeological sources such as fortified cities, coins, pottery, tools, and other artifacts. These would help me understand urban life, trade, technology, and defense. I would also use literary sources such as the Vedas, Buddhist texts, and Jain texts, which provide information about rulers, assemblies, society, and the political life of the Mahajanapadas. By comparing these sources, I could gain a better understanding of life during this period. Next question. Why was the development of iron metallurgy so important for the growth of urbanism in the first millennium BCE? You may use points from the chapter but also from your knowledge or imagination. The chapter tells us that urbanization does not happen without technology. During the second urbanization, the most important technological change was the widespread use of iron. Iron tools helped farmers cultivate larger areas of land and produce more food. With more food available, more people could be supported and towns and cities could grow. Iron was also used to make better weapons than bronze. These stronger weapons helped the Mahajanapadas fight wars and expand their territories. Sometimes wars and sometimes alliances between kingdoms led to the rise of larger kingdoms and empires. Therefore, iron metallurgy was important because it supported agriculture, warfare, and the growth of kingdoms, all of which contributed to the growth of towns and cities during the second urbanization. So, you can write the answer as the development of iron metallurgy was important for the growth of urbanism because iron tools helped agriculture expand on a larger scale, leading to increased food production. Iron also produced lighter and sharper weapons than bronze, strengthening the armies of the Mahajanapadas. Warfare and alliances between neighboring Mahajanapadas led to the rise of new kingdoms and empires. These developments supported the growth of towns and cities during the second urbanization of India. So with this, we have completed the NCERT question and answers from the chapter New Beginnings, Cities and States. I hope you found it easy to understand. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. We will see you again in our next video. Bye bye.